It is the final WWE Premium Live event of 2023. NXT Deadline is the show. Who will be the Iron Survivor Challenge winners? Who will walk away NXT champion? Of course, we've got a steel cage match, a North American Championship match. We've got a kickoff match for the first time in a long time. And we've got, well, a PLE debutant in Lexis King. Without further ado, let's go through that match card very quickly. First off, then, the kickoff match will be Axiom versus Nathan Frazer. Two longtime rivals will be renewing their rivalry here on this kickoff show. We've also got the North American Championship on the line. Dirty Dom versus Dragon Lee, replacing Wes Lee. We've got the steel cage match between Roxanne, Perez, and Kiana James. Following up will be Alexis King versus Carmelo Hayes. We've got the NXT Championship on the line. Ilja Dragunov taking on Baron Corbin. We then have the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. We've got Kelani Jordan, Lash legend, Tiffany Stratton, Blair Davenport, and Fallon Henley. And of course, we have the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge as well. Bron Breaker, Josh Briggs, Dijak, Trick Williams, and Tyler Bates there. Round up what looks a pretty stat card from top to bottom there for NXT Deadline. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I cannot do this show on my own. And I tell you what, I've reached out. Not only have I got one guest, I've got double the trouble here today. Part of bodyslam.net, joining me today with the NXT, with the after show, the Meta 2. We've got Shay, Sawyer, and Katrina in the house. Ladies, how are we doing? Welcome to SCW. Shay, I will start with you. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel.
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here, especially with my duo, my partner. So I'm excited.
It's great to have you here. And Katrina, how are you doing?
I am well. This is my second NXT prediction show today, so I am double dutying it, but also always glad to have my partner in crime here, and obviously working with you as always, Steve.
Absolutely. It's great to have you both on board and set your second prediction stream of the day. It'll be interesting to see, can we sway those predictions? Will they change them earlier on today? We'll be talking about all the matches there. But before we get into the matches and the predictions, Katrina, I'll start with you. What's your excitement levels for NXT Deadline? Are you feeling we've got a good show ahead for us between 1 and 10? What would you give?
I'm going to give it like 7.58. I think we have some, it's going to be good matches. I think the competitors, especially in this Iron Survivor Challenge, I'm actually really interested to see how these are going to play out. In particular, I do think the steel cage match with Roxanne and Kiana is going to be fun, just because Kiana has grown so much since we first seen her, but Roxanne has really been on a different level in regards to being more aggressive, and I like that. And as far as the kickoff match, I can't wait to see what Axiom does, and I like Nathan Frazer. I think you have a really good chemistry, and so I'm pretty excited for this.
Absolutely, indeed. There, and Shay, what would be your excitement levels then for this show between 1 and 10?
I'm gonna say 9. I'm really excited. I feel like Roxanne Kiana might have match of the night. That's just where I'm at right now with it. I also think that Dragunov, for me, I don't know about other Baron Corbin fans, but I think he's going to give him his most entertaining match on Saturday, because I've just never been like a huge oh my God, did you see that Baron? That wasn't me. But yeah, I'm excited.
I'm right there with you, to be fair. I mean, the more I look at this card, the more I realize there is some great potential with this show here. I'm really looking forward to it. And like you said, the steel cage match looks really good. Obviously, we've got the Iron Survivor Challenge matches. They were fantastic last year as well. Axiom and Nathan Frazer is the kickoff match. I mean, these two don't know how to stay grounded. So it's going to be a great show. I'm with you, ladies, here. I'm going to go for like a 8.5, possibly even joining Shay on a 9 here. I think there's a lot of potential here, and potential we could get some new champions as well on the show. But obviously we've gone then already technically matches we're looking forward to, but if I had to have one standout one, Shay, what would be the one standout match you're most looking forward to on this show?
I really have been on a aggressively heavy Dragon Lee hype right now, so I really think that that's a match I'm looking forward to, because I think they're going to demolish. I really do, so I'd probably say that.
Dragon Lee has been on an absolute tear since his move to SmackDown. Really, his NXT run's been amazing as well there. Katrina, would you can share with the same match, or what match would you say of all of them the most you're looking forward to?
Like I said, I think it's going to be a really interesting match. I'm kind of tied between the women's Iron Survivor just because the competitors we have in that matchup very different opponents as far as even within style. But then Alan Dragunov is my guy, and even though I don't like Baron Corbin either, I'm not a fan at all. I know he's going to give, and so I'm just ready to receive what he's going to give. So that's like my top two. I'm stuck between the two.
Great choices, to be fair there. And like you said, I mean, obviously Ilya and Baron Corbin's had probably arguably the best build, you could argue. I mean, I like the difference of backgrounds, and Baron Corbin being the arrogant, guy that has it all. Ilya Dragunov having to leave his family, sacrificing, if you will. I do like the way that storyline has played out. I feel I'm a bit of a sucker for this Iron Survivor Challenge. I really enjoyed it last year. I think I might be just a bit more excited for the women's than the men's. I feel the men's, I could be wrong. It could be, I feel it's maybe slightly more predictable. The women's one for me is a lot less predictable. I feel that there looks to be perhaps a heavy favorite in the lineup, but we've got 4 potential breakout stars in this match that could happen. So for me, I'm really looking forward to them. I think that one just about takes it for me. But let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it then. Let's get into predictions mode, and let's talk about the kickoff. And well, how can we get much better than this? Axiom versus Nathan Frazer. They've had a best out of 3 series previously in NXT, but obviously this time, more really Nathan Frazer. He's hard-hitting in truth, ended up just being hard-hitting in his face, really. He spoke a bit too much about Ilya Dragunov and Baron Corbin, preferring the Corbin lifestyle. Of course, Ilja Dragunov heard this and gave him a good beating on NXT. Axiom suggesting the best way to cover your face is one to wear a mask like him. But of course, this has led to pretty much one more match between these two. And Axiom says, well, he doesn't want to damage the moneymaker. Shay, I'll start with you first off. Obviously, we know these two are going to be amazing in ring, but how do you see it playing out, and who do you see picking up the win?
I think it's going to be a really awesome match. I think that they've intertwined with each other in the past, and they just have really great chemistry. I think that Axiom will be winning because, you know what, Nathan, you clearly didn't learn your lesson. You talking crazy about Dragunov. Like, listen, this is what happens. You're going to get one of these. Like, it's just going to happen. And Axiom now has to deal out another beating to you because you didn't learn. I get it. His whole thing is hard-hitting truth to Nathan Frazer, and he has to just be very blunt. But do not be very blunt about Dragunov because it results in pain. Axiom is winning.
I like that there a lot there. Katrina, how are you feeling? The same?
Yeah, I like Nathan Frazer. I think he's fantastic. But I wasn't really feeling him not minding his business on Dragunov. Sometimes it's okay to not say a word and just mind yours. It's like when you see something online you don't like, you just scroll. He could have just kept that on mute. And so I feel like now Axiom has to do us a favor and just let him know. And so I am going with Axiom off that alone. Like, Nathan's great, but I just didn't appreciate him siding with Baron Corbin. I was like, ew, let's not do that. So
Absolutely. Axiom is indeed. Frazer, look, fellow Brits, I sometimes I don't know when to keep my mouth shut. That's something that I can probably keep on side there with Frazer. However, hard-hitting truths, I'm not sure that I'm feeling this gimmick as well as I can do. But one thing I did kind of liked, I like that Axiom is still sort of there for him because they've had that sort of they've had the rivalry in ring, but they will shake hands at the end. That's what they've said here. I'm wondering if it's going to lead one of two ways. Is Frazer going to go and turn heel because of the fact that, the suggestion will shake hands at the end? Well, if things don't go his way, maybe he won't. Or is it the case that the mask was thrown Frazer's way? Maybe they will become a tag team together at some point. I don't know. Maybe that could be a lot of fun, something they could suggest as well. I'm with you, ladies. I think that Axiom is going to pick up the win here as well. I don't think it makes sense for Frazer to win at this point. Like I say, he's got a bit of a damaged face. So he's already, let's say, he's there for the picking at this particular moment. So I think Axiom picks up the victory. But just before we do move on, Shay, I'll start with you. I mean, Frazer heel turn or a tag team with Frazer and Axiom. Do you think that any of those ways could happen with this show?
I think it could be a tag team, kind of like, when they had, Sheamus and Cesaro go at it for, the best of 7. And then they became this amazing, awesome tag team. I could see that. I mean, I think they both are so talented in the ring. So putting them together, and I think they do need a bit of a revival in the tag division. So yeah, I'd be so down for that.
Yeah, I think that's for me as well. I'm wondering also, like, they're not doing as much. You look at this time last year, Axiom was kind of a part of the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, was one of his breakout moments last year. Not really sort of done much recently in NXT. I feel Nathan Frazier's kind of been the same. He's got his hard hitting truths, but other than that, he's had the North American Championship match at Halloween Havoc, but I can't think of much else to say of Frazer in recent times. Katrina, would you see a team for them, or do you reckon maybe Frazer would be better going heel?
I can see a heel turn. I could, just if they wanted to like refresh his character a bit, but I wouldn't mind seeing them as a tag team. I'm all for like that friendly competition tag team, or friendly, like you have a kind of friendly competition matches, but we're still cool. And so like, yeah, it was friendly competition. It wasn't a serious thing, you know. It was just us kind of sparring, if you will. And so I wouldn't mind them being the tag team, but if they want to kind of like give him a little bit of a pep to change it up a little bit, because he hasn't been doing too much recently, then I wouldn't mind the heel turn if it helps kind of keep him fresh for the NXT audience.
Absolutely. I mean, as well, with the hard-hitting truth, it feels like you can really get more truths out of him if he was to turn heel. But we'll have to wait and see how it all play out. But it seems a full house there going to be for Axiom to pick up the dub. But shall we move on? In the meantime, we'll go on to the main show, and we're going to start off with the North American Championship match. We're going to be talking about Dirty Dominik Mysterio defending the championship against Dragon Lee. Obviously, this match was not supposed to happen as of 4 days ago. We were supposed to have Dominik Mysterio versus Wesley, but sadly, Wesley has picked up a bad, nasty back injury. He needs surgery as well. I believe we heard Vic Joseph say that he's going to be out 8 to 12 months, which is a really nasty blow, as I really felt that Wesley was going to be winning the championship on this show. It felt like that was the full circle moment for him, where he have his, redemption, if you will, over Dominik after losing the title earlier this year, but sadly not meant to be. Katrina, a big miss that we're not going to see Wesley for quite a long time now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate about Wesley because, after that amazing match we had last week, with Johnny Gargano, it was just one, it made me miss the other competitors that have moved on to the main roster. I'm like, oh, this is what you guys are doing in NXT. It's so great to see that. But he really, really, I feel like if you wasn't a Wesley fan before that, that should have made you a fan. And so to have him do all of that to get himself back to this, to kind of, he's going to be gone for almost a year, hopefully not longer. It's like, oh, that's so unfortunate. And so I'm hoping, he heals well. But I feel kind of stuck on this because I feel like Dragon Lee could win because, maybe they'll finally give him a title and that'll be fine. But it's also like there was no build up. I feel like he just got thrown into this match. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel in reference to all the other NXT guys who could have easily gotten this match if that was the case. If you needed a replacement person, I feel. And so it's like, but it can also very well be like Dominik, just they let him kind of play around with it a little bit more. And, he's been, I said this a little bit earlier, I felt like he was already a little bit annoying, as not like in a bad way, but like that annoying heel. And him being the champion made it a whole lot worse. So I felt like he got even funnier, like annoyingly funny as a champion. And I'm feeling, I don't know if they're ready to let that go just yet. But I can also understand how like we can move past that and give to Dragon Lee. So I really don't know. I'm gonna say Dominik, just because I'm kind of iffy on Dragon Lee kind of winning, knowing that he kind of just got thrown into this championship match. And I feel like you have done nothing to get into this match. And so for me, I'm like, I'm a little funny about matches like that when people are kind of thrown into title matches. So I'm going to go with Dominik only that reason, but I could see Dragon Lee winning it, but I'm going to pick Dominik.
I can see the dilemma you're feeling though, because I feel exactly the same. It's really a shame to see Wesley's not going to be a part of this, but with Dragon Lee coming in, Rey Mysterio being in the corner, I feel like they did something like this before as well. Is it something just to pass time, or is it something where Dominik was meant to lose the championship, so Dragon Lee is our next best bet? Shay, can you sway me into a decision, because I'm struggling to make a prediction here?
I mean, I feel like I don't know, because again, I said like this is the match I'm looking forward to. I would not be upset about Dragon winning because I feel like right now on the main roster, he's not really in anything. Like he's kind of in something with Santos, but not really, because the end game is really actually Carlito and Rey Mysterio, and I feel like Dragon is more like that buffer before that, so he's not an integral part to that storyline right now. So, I mean, he does have free time, but also, was that their plan? And, probably they'll go with Dominik because maybe it was meant to be Wesley. Because I really, really thought Wes was going to take the title from Dominik Saturday. That was my thought process. So now I'm like, but then I also think about when Dragon Lee had his match with Dominik, he did not win that cleanly. It was a lot of foolery going on with Dragon's match. So it's like, do they dabble back into that and then maybe give him his time? I'm gonna say hopefully Dragon Lee, so Dominik can go back to the main roster and deal with Damian Priest so they can kick him out of the Judgment Day.
There we go. Well, I tell you what, it's 1-for-1 there, and you've both put me in a really good arguments with this, because, like we said there, what's going to happen is Dominik going to carry on. Rhea Ripley's going to be in the corner as well. Usually that gives Dominik the strength to usually get through these matches as well. But Rey Mysterio, what condition is he in? Is he in a condition where we would come back to go after Santos Escobar after this, or is he just going to be politely hobbling at ringside whilst watching on with Dragon Lee? So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to go, but I think I'm going to sway with the idea of Dragon Lee winning as well. My reasoning for it is because, like you said there, Dominik Mysterio would have to go back to the Judgment Day. I think that was the original plan. I think that there is going to be cracks in amongst the Judgment Day. It's already started with losing War Games. Now we've got the idea as well of Damian Priest sort of kind of feeling everyone's talking about him. JD McDonough's not dealt with R-Truth yet. So it's kind of like, what's next? What's the next sort of thing that's going to happen? Well, perhaps Dominik Mysterio losing a championship. That could also lead to a domino effect where then the tag titles could be next. And of course, then Rhea Ripley's the only one left with the World's Women's Championship. So I think there's going to be Judgment Day friction again. It always seems to be the way with factions on the main roster. So I think Dragon Lee wins the North American Championship. And I do agree as well, he's not the main piece of the puzzle when it comes to the Rey Mysterio feud. He is the future of Lucha Libre. So if it's the future, well, NXT fits it perfectly. So yeah, I'm going to go with Dragon Lee as well. Is there anything you both would like to add before we move on?
I wanted to say, I hope Wesley gets well very, very soon. I'm so sad. He has the same effect like Bryan Danielson, like Johnny Gargano, like Rey Mysterio. He has that effect. So this is just going to make people cheer for him even more when he returns. And I'm really, really excited. I miss you, Wesley. I already miss you. Like, please.
He had such a great story going on, Wesley, in NXT. He was one of my favorites to watch. And I must admit, every time he's been on one of these NXT shows, he's usually been quite a standout performer. So for me, I do think it's going to be a big miss. And I do wonder when he comes back, how they're going to bring him in. Because obviously the story with Dominik Mysterio North American title is probably going to well moved on by then. Even if Dominik retains here, I don't think he's going to be still champion 8 to 12 months time. So it's going to be interesting to see if Wesley goes straight to the main roster to deal with Dominik Mysterio, or if he goes and does his own stuff in NXT and perhaps moves towards the NXT World Championship instead. We'll have to wait and see what will happen. But I do agree with the sentiments that both of you said, and we do wish Wesley the speediest of recoveries. C. McLean in the house says, I'm going with Dominik Mysterio to retain his North American Championship. So there's another vote there for Dirty Dom. And, well, I'll just shout out to Eric Douglas as well. Feels that Cora Jade could have something to do with Deadline. It's clearly her voice in the preview. She's been missing for such a long time now. Would love to see her back in NXT sometime very soon. Katrina, Cora Jade, where's she gone?
I don't know where she's been. I'm so iffy on her. Like, she's a pretty girl and everything, but she bothers me. She really does. She's been bothering me since she was messing with Roxanne. And so I'm just like, I guess. So her being gone, I'm not really clocking it. Personally, I'm not like, oh, where's she at? But, if she comes back, she has been gone a while. And so it'll be nice to kind of, again, I like to, wrestling fans sometimes have very short attention spans. Bring it back in, let them see her again, and maybe put her into stories. But also, I'm personally not the one like, yeah, can't wait till she get back. I'm like, okay, you're gone, cool. But, she comes back, cool. If she makes an appearance, if they make her even pop up during the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, because they very may well do that. I mean, she had beef with quite a few of the women in that match. And so it's quite possible if it is her voice, because I haven't honestly paid attention in regards to hearing who voice it is, and she just decides to pop up during that, or even try to do some nonsense with Roxanne, since that happened with the two of them anyway, with her and Kiana, since there's always something going on between the two of them. It can very well she makes her return during that. And so we'll see what happens.
We will do indeed. Shay, are you missing Cora more than Katrina?
I am. I actually love Cora. I think she's just great. Like, she's just my type of vibe. Like, I have a type of like wrestler that I'm just like, oh, I want to cheer for you. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. It's just like, I want to cheer for you. And she is one of those people, whether she's heel or face, I am just down. I feel like she's been going through a bit of a transformation. She's been working out in the gym heavy, like more than she's ever been. So I'm just excited to see how she comes back. Like, she's gonna be a unit from like how the photos she's been posting on Instagram. Like, she has been in the gym.
She's definitely been putting time in. You're not wrong there. And I got to say, for me, I'm interested to see where she fits in when she comes back. Obviously, not been a part of this show, but Eric, you've certainly noticed something I hadn't noticed either. I didn't know she was the voice for this either. But hey, attention to detail, gotta love it. That's what we say. But we will move on in the meantime, and I've been forgetting to throw up some of the match graphics, so let's do that for this next match. We've got the steel cage match on the way. We mentioned Roxanne Perez there. She'll be taking on Kiana James. These two have, well, they've needed to be pulled apart on quite a few occasions. They've also cost each other opportunities to get in the Iron Survivor match. And let's be fair, they faced a Halloween Havoc, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Was it like one of those spin the wheel, make a deal matches, which I believe Roxy may have won on that occasion? So, yeah, these two are no strangers to one another in ring. But Shay, like, how do you see this one playing out? Obviously, still cage match between these two ladies. It feels like this is where this has to end.
I don't know. I feel like Roxanne has been locked in. Like, she's been fighting like she has something to prove, and I think it stems a little bit from how things ended with that title reign that she had. So, I really like Kiana, but I think Roxanne might be taking this. But I love them both, and they're just fantastic.
It's been a fun feud. It certainly has been fun to watch these two go at it. Katrina, how are you feeling with Roxanne versus Kiana?
I'm kind of with Shay on this one. I like them both. I definitely think Kiana has progressed since we first seen her first match. She has definitely been doing something. You can see it. I do think Kiana is going to have some moments. I really do think she's going to have some really big moments in this match, but I'm going to go with Roxanne. I feel like even with Kiana's brick that she happens to have in her bag at all times, the road rage brick that she has to keep in her bag. Even with that, I just feel like Roxanne is on a different space. I felt like, that whole thing with, going against one of the top women wrestlers of all time, Amika Satomura, you went against her. You was able to do all these things. And then you had the whole mental health thing, and then you lose your belt. And it was a really weird thing. I never understood why it happened that way, where she earned the title, like, to get back into the match, and then she didn't win it. And I was just like, so what was the point of taking it, or what was the point of any of that? And so I guess she came back, even with the Blair thing, with Blair Davenport, even the whole store situation, a little ode to Booker T and Stone Cold. All of that is just very different than the happy Roxanne we got when she first got here. And so I think you have somebody who keeps messing up the opportunities for you to get back to where you're trying to get back to. I think she's going to have to teach Kiana a bit of a lesson, but I do think Kiana is really going to have some moments. I think she's going to shine in this truly, but I do think Roxanne's taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great points there. I do feel Kiana, she's had some great moments in NXT over the last 12 months. You could argue her coming out party was probably last year's Iron Survivor Women's Challenge match. That was when she first broke out. Obviously, she had a women's tag team title run since. And like you said, this is probably the biggest singles feud she's had where, now she's on a PLE in a steel cage match. This is potential to really break out. But I can't bet against Roxanne Perez. It's one of the things, you put Roxanne Perez and anyone in the match. Usually for me, I end up going with Roxanne Perez 9 times out of 10 because Roxy just seems to always pick up the victory. She finds a way, and she is the prodigy. I think she's ready for the next level as well, and I think that's shown there. I agree with you. Her NXT title run earlier this year, it ended in a very strange and unique fashion. I really think if they were going to go more with the anxiety and the mental health stuff, I think they should have gone and tapped more into it to sort of make her overcome and rise above and make, real sort of like a real role model out of it. But it kind of feels like it's been dropped more in recent times. So I kind of agree with you. It's kind of gone a bit weird, but nonetheless, Roxanne seems to have found a more aggressive side in recent months, and I think she'll pick up the W in this steel cage match. And I agree with Shay from earlier in the stream. This has the potential to be a match of the night candidate. It really does. I can see sort of a dangerous spot off the top of this cage, put it that way. I think it could be a fun one to see. But any final comments that we'd like to make before we go into the chat?
Kiana, I think when you just said about the whole it could be someone doing something off the top, I really, really think it will be Kiana's. Now I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a little bit more excited.
I hope she does, and I wouldn't mind a pop rocks as well from the top area there, but I imagine that's probably a bit dangerous, just a little bit. I'm not suggesting anything. CD in the house, C Nation, thank you for joining us. Hope you're keeping well. Says Roxanne Perez gets the win. So good to get a prediction there. Nubicom as well, watching as well. Thank you. Hope you're keeping well. Going for Axiom on the kickoff to pick up the victory against Nathan Frazer. And Too Sweet Kyle from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast in the house as well. Hope you're keeping well. Says hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Not too excited for this show, if I'm being honest. And I love NXT. Really can't pinpoint why. Regardless, I'm sure it will still deliver. Hoping it will deliver as well. We're quite excited for the show. Hopefully, the excitement for you will pick up as time wears on close towards Saturday. C. McLean is going for Roxanne Perez to pick up the victory as well. So there we have it. Well, we'll move on in the meantime. And, well, this match doesn't have an official graphic, so I did the best I could at short notice. It's Lexis King going against Carmelo Hayes. Of course, this one kind of revolving around Trick Williams. Obviously, he was taken out of a fatal four-way, which turned back into a triple threat match, which led to Carmelo Hayes getting a championship opportunity against Ilja Dragunov. Trick Williams had the questions for a little while. Was it Carmelo Hayes? Was it not? Was it somebody else? It's sort of come out in recent times that Lexis King was the guilty party that was involved with this, although NXT Anonymous has seen Carmelo Hayes get on his phone on that night making an anonymous text. There has been suggestions again. Was it Lexis King that was texted by Carmelo Hayes from Trick Williams? Doesn't seem to be the case. And Carmelo, in a losing effort to get into the Iron Survivor Challenge, decided he's going to get revenge on Lexis King at Deadline. Katrina, I'm going to start with you. What have been your thoughts here with Lexis King and Carmelo Hayes and the build of everything that's been going on with Trick Williams as well?
I like Lexis King. I've said this a few times, but you know, especially after watching like Dark Side of the Ring, I really want him to like find his footing. I want him to thrive. I really do. And I love his entrance. And if somebody can make me get an entrance at some point in this matter, call me so we can make this happen. With that being said, I'm not sure why he kind of threw himself in a thing between Carmelo and Trick. It's such a random thing to be like, I'm going to involve myself in this. It's like, why? Of all the people in NXT, this is the situation you put yourself in. I don't know, because at first I thought maybe it was Carmelo. I did. But yesterday, Tuesday, that was yesterday, what wasn't it? See, listen, when they showed that clip, I had watched it so many times. I'm like, bro, it's not even texted. Like, I like zoomed in. I zoomed in to check what he was doing. I'm like, this is like what you would do if you're like unlocking your phone or if you're doing a quick little scroll notifications. There is no way, I think, even as fast as most people are with texting and you have like the predictive text, that you can get a text to somebody in an arena. And if anybody's been to a wrestling show, arenas are not good with phone service. There's no way you have time to text and the text get there 2 seconds later and Lexis is already waiting. I'm like, stop playing. I felt like, I don't know. I now think Carmelo is just being framed. For this. With that being said, I do think Lexis is going to win. I think Carmelo's head is too many places at the same time. He clearly feels away. You lost your North American Championship. You had a fantastic match with Alan Dragunov twice, but you lost that last one, and then he kind of like became champion. It's like, where do you go from here? And you're watching the guy who kind of hyped you up all this time, kind of slowly moving up the ranks. The fans are with him. You know, with that Trick, they're all for Trick Williams. I'm sure that's bothering Carmelo in a capacity. And then you have Lexis King with all of this. So I don't think he's really, like, he wants to, I guess, take revenge. But I don't think his head's in the space properly. I really don't. And I do think Lexis will take it. And also, this is Lexis' first PLE. There's no point of having him come to NXT, make the big deal about him coming to NXT to lose his first PLE. That would be really ridiculous. I just want to understand that. So I'm going to go with Lexis King off of the fact that he probably needs to win this, kind of really give him a good, like, first PLE match. And against somebody like Carmelo, which I think is perfect. But also, I just don't think Carmelo's really into it. Like, his head's the way it needs to be. I don't think he's been his best since he lost his NXT championship.
Some great arguments made there from Katrina there. Shay, what's your thoughts there with this Carmelo Hayes and Lexis King?
I kind of feel very similar to her. I really think it would make zero sense for him to lose, Lexis, to lose his first PLE after how much of a big deal they made about him. I just feel like that is a terrible foot to start off on. And I want the best for Lexis, so we need to make sure that they do right by him. We have to do right by Lexis. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Carmelo, he's just not, his head's not in it. Like, people are framing him. He is being framed. Like, this is the most aggressive framing I've ever seen in my entire life. And he's just not there. His best friend's pressing him. Like, did you see how he was talking to him yesterday? Like, I don't care. You need to tell me now. Who are you talking to, Trick? This is insane. So Carmelo is just, his head's all over the place. I don't think he's going to be in the right frame of mind to lock in and win that match.
I agree with a lot of arguments you've both made there. And all I'll say is that Melo don't miss. He's been missing a few lately, but I think when it comes to Trick Williams, I don't think he missed. I don't think he was involved with the first one. Like you say, a heavy frame. There was an argument, though, that I think he may have been framed one too many times and he may do it the next time. The way it's going, like you said, the way the Trick is now going towards him, he's almost asking for that treatment to be done to him. And Carmelo Hayes, when we know he does get his A game on, Melo is a tough customer. But like you said, Lexis King, first PLE. Melo is a little bit on the sidelines right now. He is missing those layups, let's be fair. But Lexis King here, new into the game. They want to push him hard at this moment. It feels like to go against Carmelo Hayes and get a win on your first PLE, they have huge plans for him. It's another one of those AEW stars coming into WWE. Doesn't matter if they're a big deal over in AEW or not. We're going to treat them right. And we're going to show in future, anyone that comes from AEW here, you've got a future. So Lexis King here to pick up the win over Carmelo Hayes for me makes the most sense here. And it's a full house on that one. And yeah, I mean, like we said there, Trick Williams, we'll be talking more about him later on in this stream. But obviously, yeah, I don't see him getting involved in this one at all. Do you, Katrina? I think he'll be more focused on that main event.
Yeah, I don't really think, like, I mean, he might talk something beforehand, like there might be some scenes of him talking something about, like, I don't feel him getting involved because he really have to focus. This is like his do or die moment, I feel, with all the momentum with the audience, and it seems like everybody really wants him to really do well. It makes a sense to put himself in this Lexis King. Like, it's a problem, but it's like something you'll put to the back burner until after PLE. So I don't think he'll interfere at all.
No. Shay, do you feel he will?
I feel like the same way that Trick's antics and how he's been towards Carmelo has gotten into Carmelo's head, I feel like Trick has also gotten into his own head. He's, thinking, who can I trust? All these things. So I could see him maybe making a mistake and kind of like trying to get involved in some way because he still has animosity towards Lexis, who out of the two between Lexis and Carmelo is the confirmed person that definitely attacked him. He's still on the fence and doesn't know 100% if Carmelo had any hands in it, but he knows 100% that Lexis from the video from last week. So could be.
We'll have to wait and see. I don't think he will either. I think his concentration will be on the main event. However, it doesn't feel like it's going to be the last of this, whatever happens. This feels like this is a placeholder for everything that's going to happen moving forward, perhaps into New Year's Evil, and maybe even as we get into Royal Rumble and Vengeance Day season. But let's see what our chat has got to say, because there's quite a few vocal comments coming through on this one, which is quite nice to see. C-Nation kicking things off, saying that Lexis King gets the win here. As well as that, we've got C. McLean going for Carmelo Hayes to get up the victory here for this one. And also, Eric Douglas here says, I love Lexis, but can we do something else with the fake facial hair? It's actually annoying now. Well, I mean, he's got an interesting look going on, hasn't he? Let's just say it's a bit of a loose cannon. Let's just leave it there at this moment. But we have got a few other comments that have come in from other sections of this stream as well. Newbie Code going with Dominik Mysterio to pick up the victory over Dragon Lee, but pretty much tired of the whole LWO versus Judgment Day. Hope this will end at WrestleMania 40. I mean, hopefully that will finish a lot sooner, hopefully. It feels we could be getting Judgment Day going in their own direction, and Dragon Lee, hopefully, with Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio doing their own thing on SmackDown. CD, though, does actually go on to say about this. It's a Raw wrestler versus a SmackDown wrestler for an NXT championship. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? It's almost like back in the day, a WWE superstar, a WCW superstar going for an ECW world title back in the year 2000. It happened. As well, we've got CDD saying about Wesley's injury. You could have chose anyone, but they did choose Dragon Lee. They've chose Dragon Lee. We think it's going to be a great match, so hopefully it should be good regardless. And see the early in the predictions here saying Dijak to win the Iron Survivor Challenge. We will get there. We will get there, but Katrina does not look impressed. But we will move on in the meantime, and we're going to go into match 4. And speaking of not being impressed, let's talk about the NXT Championship, shall we? Let's talk about Ilja Dragunov defending against Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's luxurious lifestyle, the big house, all the cars, the whiskey. Have you seen him cut Wagyu beef on Instagram? It seems to do it almost on a weekly basis, drinking his JD or whatever he has going with it. Of course, against Ilja Dragunov, of course, much simpler lifestyle, but he's had to leave his family to try and give them a better life. And of course, the thing that pretty much is doing that and guaranteeing that right now is being NXT champion. Baron Corbin says if he takes that away from Ilja, he's taken everything away. And, well, he's accusing Ilja of walking away from his family. He's given them an excuse to send him back. This has been quite personal. I think this has been one of the best built matches going into this show. Shay, what have been your thoughts of Ilja Dragunov versus Baron Corbin?
I do think it has been a fun feud, like the whole story and him coming at Dragunov. Because I feel like when I first saw Dragunov, I was like, because he had no type of character. He just came out and he was doing this with his hands. And I was like, stop doing that. Because it's literally driving me nuts right now. But he's like got a lock on his character now. And like his speak, I feel like his mic skills have definitely shot through the roof. Like I'm really just like, oh, you really have just the whole package now. Like, so I'm such a fan. And I have loved every second of this and him getting pushed and this whole him, like, you know, if you push him too far, he's like a loose cannon. I love that. So I definitely think obviously Dragunov is winning. Like Baron is not winning. And if he does, I am calling HR. Okay. I will not be dealing with this. But yeah, Dragunov, definitely winning. And I really loved it. I love when he hugs Baron Corbin. And then that one guy in the audience goes, what? Like, it was too funny to me. But yeah.
I like it. Yeah, to be fair, you mentioned that. I mean, HBK could be getting a tweet by the sounds of it if Corbin wins this match. But one thing's for sure, like you mentioned, the very important detail there at the end of NXT last night, Baron Corbin trying to go to the lowest level and Dragunov saying, look, if I do the job now, you'll be in an ambulance, there'll be no match. But obviously, the only person that can slay the dragon is the dragon himself. Katrina, what does that mean as such? Is Ilja going to be his own downfall this Saturday, or is he going to find a way to overcome the odds and beat Baron Corbin?
Oh, Baron's not winning this. So that's like, do I think this has been a really good lead up? Yes. Was I slightly annoyed that Baron's been eating Wagyu almost every week? Stop wasting meat, okay? Because why? Like, Wagyu beef is not cheap. And why I get this is a lifestyle. Nobody's eating this much steak. Nobody's doing this much. Calm down, Baron. Also, like, I think the fact that he was calm, I'm a firm believer in usually if somebody's this calm, that is a problem, especially if there's known to have like anger issues or whatever the case may be. You're this calm, it's going to be a problem. Like calm before the storm. Like, all right, Baron, you thought you was going to get me out of character, and I respect that. I know you said Shay, you didn't particularly like Ilja Dragunov before. To be fair, he didn't have a character, but I always thought he was a fantastic wrestler, always. And so I just don't see, like, the fact that Baron Corbin is still on NXT TV, like, somebody asked for this. It's like, why? And I feel, as Shay said, if some weird reason, all of a sudden Baron is holding that title, I'm gonna have to go to Shawn Michaels' house and be like, listen here, Sean, because, like, why are we playing? Don't do that. Like, don't do that. Why are we seeing Baron in 2023 as NXT champion? Don't play with me in that way. And so I'm going on Dragunov because why would he lose to Baron? I feel like he had a match with Carmelo. He didn't lose. Think of all the people he kind of had to slay, in words of slaying the dragon. to get to as a champion, and then you think Baron's gonna come because he ate a couple of steaks. That means you supposed to be a champion, or and then I didn't like that he's talking about people's kids. I don't like that as a mom. Like, don't do that. That's a button for me. So I'm like, oh, principle. Alan Dragunov got to be his like extra hard. He has to beat him up like extra, like a little razzle dazzle extra beat down for talking about his kid. So I'm obviously going with Alan Dragunov because I don't know who's going to be asking for Baron as the NXT champion. And if you are, I might have to ask you a question as to why. We have to chat because why. But Alan Dragunov.
I think the ladies have said it pretty much for me here. I think Baron Corbin's going to look like Wagyu beef by the end of this match. I think he's going to take an absolute pasting from Ilja Dragunov. I think it's going to be a close encounter. I think it's going to be a good, fun match to watch. I've actually enjoyed Corbin's work more in NXT in this run than I have for quite a while. But yeah, Dragunov, like you've both said there, since the development of the character, he's really sort of come on leaps and bounds. And I felt the same as Shay at the start. I thought he was a good wrestler, but I didn't connect to him the same way. It was only when he had the Gunther matches, or should I say Walter, back in NXT UK, that's when the tides turned for me. And I started thinking, hello, I see something here. And yeah, since then, he's gone on leaps and bounds. But now NXT champion, he's at a different level altogether. He's main roster ready any day they want to do it. So although the Dragon would slay himself, he's not going to do it on this night. The only way I can see that happening, which is where he'd lose the match, is if it's a stupid DQ, but I don't want to see that. I agree with both of the ladies. I'm going to go with Ilja Dragunov to pick up the victory. So there could be a riot if Baron Corbin wins, but is anyone actually going for Baron Corbin? In the comments, let's see. C. McLean here saying that I'm going to say Ilja Dragunov to retain the NXT Championship over Baron Corbin. There we go. CD has now found a match graphic to Carmelo Hayes versus Lexis King. They always do it when I'm on the stream live. It's too late for me to get it at that point. I had to be creative. We also have here two Speakcasters. I've never been a Corbin fan, but not going to lie, I think he's doing some of the best work to date. I agree, he is doing some of his best work to date. I'm enjoying the character he's portraying right now, and fingers crossed it does lead to some more interesting rivalries going forward, even though I don't think he's going to win this one. But Eric Douglas, playing with fire, my friend, has got Baron Corbin. He says, I've got Corbin. If Ilja wins, then who beats him? He's beaten every other top guy. It's a good question, though. We'll put that actually to everyone. Shay, I'll start with you. Who is the person to dethrone Ilja Dragunov for the NXT Championship at this stage?
I think it could be Tyler Bate. I think if anyone could do it, it could be Tyler Bate. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like they keep kind of giving these little Easter eggs or making it seem like they might bring him up because, you know, Butch is down on his luck right now on SmackDown. He's getting jumped every other week. So I feel like they've kind of put things to make it seem like that might be a thing. But it's like, I think Tyler Bate is so talented. And if I could think of anyone who was hanging with Dragunov in the ring 100%, it is him. I mean, Carmelo's already out of the equation because he's already done his stuff. Bron's out of the equation. So that's kind of where my mind goes.
I like it. He's a big, strong boy. Katrina, do you agree?
Actually, I do. I love Tyler Bate. That's my guy. And you know, I understand Eric why you may think, and I'm saying this with like, ugh, you know, that he could win because who beats him, but that's not a reason for Baron to win. If anything, you know, you think of that's kind of how people felt about Bron. That's how people felt about Carmelo. Well, who's going to beat them? And then somebody beat them. And so I can see Tyler Bate very well, you know, giving him a run for his money because we've seen them wrestle each other before. And we know that they know each other. You can literally build something off of the fact that they have history. If you really want to put story, you can with the two of them. And so I can see that happening. But, you know, and as Shay said, I don't see, there's no need for Carmelo, even with, I guess when we get there, even with, you know, Bron in that match, there's no need, he don't even technically need that match. He's been champion multiple times, you know, he's had matches with people on the main roster already. I feel like that's kind of beneath him, truly, now. And so the only person I can think of off top would be a Tyler Bate, you know, or if they want to be just ridiculous and make Dominik Mysterio off principle to get people upset. Like, you know, they may do that, but I can definitely see Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bate's a good shout indeed. There's the chat here saying that Dijak could be one if we get the second match here. Ed Fry's in the house as well. Hope you're doing well, Ed, as well, from our local establishment. Big NXT enthusiast as well. Dijak seems to be a lock for me, especially with Ilja if he gets by Corbin there. Interesting stuff indeed there. We've got Nubico says, I blame the social media fans for blaming Melo. There we go. It's going back on that. I think Noob is watching on delay, so appreciate you, Noob, for watching on delay. We'll still get all your comments up. Don't you worry. Lexis King for the win, and does say above here as well. We're going for Kiana James winning with Cora Jade costing Roxanne Perez the cage match. Perfect way to bring Cora back. So thank you, Noob, for those comments. We'll keep them coming in. And another comment as well from CD here says, last year at Deadline, we had Apollo Crews as the main roster superstar challenge for the NXT Championship. This year they have Baron Corbin challenge for the NXT Championship. So that's a good point as well there. It's an interesting point everyone's made there. Who is the next NXT champion? I see your argument with Tyler Bate. I see what everyone's saying with Dijak as well. Honestly, I'm not actually sure. It's a really tough question to answer. So, I mean, looking at the Iron Survivor Challenge, I mean, there was a couple of contenders that could be there, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to go really outside the box, a real wild card, because the men's breakout tournament is coming. It's coming, and there was a guy that was pushed earlier this year as someone looked like he was going to dominate in NXT, and he went missing for about 6 months off TV. Obafemi. I think he is someone that's going to come and he's going to be a big deal with NXT. Will he be the next NXT champion? Maybe it might be too soon. I don't know. But I think he's going to be someone to keep an eye out for. CD says, I can see Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams will enter the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Absolutely. That's a point to make there. That will be coming, of course, probably in the new year. Cody Rhodes did actually mention that in October. So that's a good shout indeed there. But we're all going for Ilja Dragunov and Baron Corbin. Not very popular on this stream. Let's put it that way. We'll move, though, onto the what will be the main events of this stream. Obviously, we're going to start off then with the Iron Survivor Challenges. So let's start off with the ladies. We've got Kelani Jordan, Lash Legend, Tiffany Stratton, Blair Davenport, and Fallon Henley involved in this match. Now, I suppose the best thing for those who don't know, I'm going to do my best to go through the rules here for everybody. The match is 25 minutes long. 2 wrestlers will start the match. Every 5 minutes, a new wrestler will enter. So that means that the last person that comes in only gets 5 minutes in the match. But obviously, the name of the game is to get the most pinfalls in that 25-minute period. If you lose a match during it, take a pinfall, a submission, you end up having to go into a penalty box, which I believe is for 90 seconds, if I've been listening correctly on NXT. And I believe that's pretty much the rule. So it's basically the most falls at the end wins. And last year, you got a championship opportunity. I'm guessing this year, although again, ears may not be perfect, I haven't heard that. I'm assuming you're next in line for a championship opportunity at New Year's Eve. But we've gone through some of the names there then what we got for the women's match. So what I thought we could do with this one, rather than give a prediction, or we could talk about every wrestler individually, and if it comes to land on the wrestler that you think is going to win, then feel free to give that person as your prediction at that point. So I figured, Katrina, we'll start with you. We should talk about Tiffany Stratton. Obviously going to be seen as a heavy favorite going into this. How do we see Tiffany Stratton with the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge?
So, unpopular opinion, I'm not a fan of Tiffany. I do think she has a fantastic moonsault. I really do. And I'm impressed with her ability to hang with a Becky Lynch. And, kudos to her in that regard. With that being said, I do not feel she needs to win this. She was already champion. You already fought with a Becky Lynch. Again, you was able to hang with Becky Lynch, who, is one of the 4 horsewomen of NXT. And so you don't need this. I feel like, while I get she's a favorite because of, like, if you're going off now record, if you're going about her history so far in NXT, she's probably the highest standing of the group of ladies that's in this. But I don't feel she should be winning this at all. You don't need this. I feel like if she needs to get back to the title picture, she can actually do it without this. And so while I think she's going to definitely have her moments in this match, and she might get quite a few falls, I do think she'll probably get maybe the second amount of falls. I feel that. I don't think she's winning this. And so I think she'll do well, though. It just doesn't make sense for me to have her win this. She doesn't need it.
That's fair. That's fair indeed. Shay, do you share those sentiments? How are your thoughts with Tiffany Stratton?
Tiffany, I don't think she's winning, but I definitely think she's going to be a difference maker in the match, for sure. And I think she's a great addition. I think she's, I enjoy her in ring. I think she's funny. She has a fantastic look, clearly. So it's like, yeah, I'm into her. I like her a lot. So I don't think she's winning though, unfortunately.
No, I don't have a winning either. I've got to say, I'm a fan of Tiffany. I think that how she can play the Mean Girls character so darn well. It's annoying, but it's meant to be, and I feel she does the job very, very well. Like you say, she hangs with the best as well. I think she's got a very bright future in WWE. I think even Charlotte Flair called her out on a press conference recently as well. But I don't see her picking up the win here. I agree with Katrina. I think she is going to get the second amount of falls in this match. In Cat we trust, and literally I agree with your point here. Lash Legend, let's talk about her next. Shay, we'll start with you. Lash Legend, how are we feeling about her with the Iron Survivor Challenge?
So I did not have her as someone I thought was going to win. I had her as someone to make a lot of impact, but I didn't have her as someone to win until yesterday when they had the summit. And I feel like she kind of carried on the mic compared to everyone else. She made me believe even more. And then obviously with the thing with Otis, which everyone's talking about, that just even more affirmed that. I'm like, oh, I think she might be second to first or first. That's where I'm putting her. Second to first or first with the amount of like pinfalls. Like I really think it could possibly, she's one of my two. I have two picks. She's one of my two.
I like it. One of the two then. You make a good point there. She was very persuasive on the summit. Obviously, she explained how she's been with Metaphor, obviously, and working with Noam Dar, who's used to having multiple fall matches, obviously, with the Heritage Cup. So she knows a thing or two, knows a trick or two. So obviously, from Metaphor to Meta 2, Katrina, I mean, Lash Legend, where are we standing with this one?
No, I've appreciate her work as far as how when we first saw her to now. I think she has gotten better in the ring. I think her character, she had a bit of a character when we was first introduced to her, but I think her being with Metaphor, when you have like the shenanigans that like Noam Dar is so like ridiculous sometimes, and how he like approaches things, like it's just like it works, kind of sitcom-y, it works, and I feel like this has truly helped her. I was truly, truly, truly impressed with her picking up Otis. The last time I was this impressed was when Bianca did it. And I thought that was crazy. And, Lash Legend has a bit more height on Bianca in that regard. And she did that. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I couldn't do that. I'll be laid out in the ring if this was me. But, this is great. I don't think she's winning it, but I do think that they like her enough, which is why that happened. I do think her even being better at everybody on the mic, she's going to have her moments. I think she's really, really going to shine. She might shine the most, honestly, in this matchup. And I love, Kelani, for instance, in this. I guess we'll get to her. But, I think Lash Legend is truly going to have her moment. She's really going to shine throughout this match. And I feel like this will help, catapult her to other parts going forward, but I do not think she's going to win it. But I do think the fact that she's with Metaphor, the fact that even this whole thing with her and Otis, but even her, picking him up, slamming him down, and then even what she was saying on the mic, I do think they like her. I do think, Shawn Michaels like her, and this is why we're getting this. But I just don't think she's going to win it. But I do think she's probably going to be the one that's going to really shine the most in this match.
Interesting stuff indeed. I'm going to be honest, I was not always the biggest fan of Lash Legend. Obviously, you could see there was the experience there, but obviously, time has come along, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Metaphor either, because I'm not the biggest Noam Dar fan either. However, Metaphor been truly ridiculous, and week by week, my guards come down. I'm becoming quite a fan of Metaphor. I do feel that they're goofy in what they do, and they do it very well. And I've got to say, Lash is improving in this group as well. Like you say, she's getting more chance to expose character work in ring as well. She's working with some great talented performers as well, and they can only raise her game also. And I don't have her winning this, but to put her in this match shows there's trust to have a potential breakup moment for her. Obviously, she had a viral moment with Otis this past Tuesday. I think she could be a surprise package, let's say, for this match. But we'll move on then to Kelani Jordan, the most inexperienced going into this match, although she made a very good point. She might be the most inexperienced when it comes to Iron Survivor challenges. None of the other women win it last year. Katrina, Kelani Jordan, does she stand a chance?
So now, after earlier, because a really good point was made, and so which we'll get there, but I did have her winning actually, and part of it is me just being very biasly that I thought she should have won the breakout tournament. I know people like Lola Vice, and she has a great look, and she does have parts that are really well, but I felt Kelani should have won it. I really, really felt Kelani should have won it. I was actually really annoyed with Lola taking it off Kelani. I feel like biasly, off of this alone, she needs to win this. I'm not even like thinking of story or anything. I literally biasly, I think you should win because you didn't win the breakout tournament. And I do get in regards to she's inexperienced, maybe wrestling in NXT, but this is correct. Every person in this match, this is the first for everybody. So technically, we're all, or they are inexperienced, and so we're kind of all on the same level playing field here, and that changes things. And so it could very well put her in a position that she can win this. And it might be like, even, which I hate roll-ups, but I feel like she may even have to do that a little bit because, again, you have somebody like a Lash Legend who's a big, she's big in stature. And Tiffany, while she's a bit agile and she's a bit flexible, she's not short either. I feel like you have to know how to work your size. And Kalani's a little bit smaller, probably the smallest of the group of women. I believe going into this matchup, she's probably the tiniest woman in there. I'm a tiny woman, and so always extra for us tiny ladies. I do think she might have to get a couple of roll-ups in there, but I do think it's very possible that she could win this semi-biasly, but also I just feel like everybody is kind of on an even playing field here. And if we're taking Tiffany out of, we don't need her to win this, it's very possible that of the other four, she can win it. But I'm now kind of stuck between somebody else. And so when we get there, I'll explain which one that is, who we have left.
I'm taking the long route, aren't I? Shay, thoughts then on Kelani Jordan? Obviously, she's got everything to gain here in this one and nothing to lose.
Yeah, I don't see her winning, but I definitely see her getting some roll-up wins, surprise wins, definitely getting some momentum. But I don't see her winning. But also what I will say is I feel like she was more put in this match just to get miles put on her. Like, I don't think she was put in this match to win. Like, because I feel like Kelani is very Roxanne Perez coded. And when I say that, I mean that they have that same aura of like that underdog you instantly want to root for. But the problem is they're so squeaky clean baby face that if you push them too quickly to things, fans are likely to turn. They just are. It was happening with Roxanne like midway through, even when she won the title. Early on, like people started turning just because, they get that feeling like, oh, they're just getting pushed because they're this and that. And they get like resentful towards them. And I don't want that for Kelani. So I feel like taking as you just said, taking the scenic route, like, let's take a little bit more time on this is probably the better bet. But she's definitely going to have some surprise roll-ups and, some fun moments in the match.
Absolutely. I think you both make great points, like you said, about the miles for on this. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't have a winning either. What I would say is like what Katrina said, I think that Kelani should have won the breakout tournament as well. I think that she needed it more after the stuff that happened with Dana going, because she was building a character and a gimmick there. And then it was the way to sort of push her going forward. She's still looking to find her way to break out herself at this moment. So, she didn't get that with the breakout tournament. Hopefully this match will be the placement that does it. We said earlier on how this was great for Kiana James last year. Hopefully it could be the same for Kelani as well. But let's move on to Blair Davenport. Shay, thoughts on Blair Davenport? No one can take her out in the parking lot because she takes everybody else out. But will Blair be able to do the same when it comes to the Iron Survivor Challenge?
This is my pick to win. I think she's going to win. I think she's the perfect next opponent for Lyra. Like, if I look at the field right now, I think she's the perfect one to go against Lyra at this moment. So, yeah, I think she's going to take it. I've always been a fan of Blair. I think she's so talented. I think that I've been waiting for her to come back. Like, she had the match, the triple threat with Mandy and Mako, and then she was gone. We didn't see her. And then she's back, and I feel like she's had a lot of start and stop pushes since her return. So I'd like to see something a little bit drawn out. Even if this goes on and maybe it leads to a second match, I'm open to that because I really am big on Blair, and I would be open to her beating Lyra even. But Lyra should keep the title a little bit because I feel like the title's been bouncing a little too much. So Blair is my winner for sure.
I like it. Katrina.
So I'm a fan of Blair too. I really am, and I might have picked her if Nikita did not come back. I feel like the fact that she apparently likes to bother people in parking lots, it appears, and she likes the NXT parking lot is one of the most dangerous places to be in NXT apparently, and so if Nikita didn't come back, and I would have been like, all right, maybe she can take this, but I do think she's gonna dominate probably more than anybody else, and as far as she's probably gonna be a bit more aggressive. I feel like she's gonna be very aggressive with whatever she does in this match, but I do not think she's gonna win it because of Nikita. If Nikita did not come back and they didn't say, "Oh, you're the reason I was injured for as long as I was injured, and now she's back," Blair, you don't got time to be worrying about Lyra. I don't think Nikita's gonna allow that to happen, where you're gonna be getting title matches. After what you did to her, storyline wise, you injured her and she was gone. And so you can't mess up somebody in the parking lot and then it's like, oh, yay, title. And the person who you messed up is like, well, I'm going to let you get the title first. And then we can continue a feud. And nobody does that in wrestling. And so I just feel like if Nikita didn't come back, I can actually make an argument for her to win it, but because of that, I think she's going to probably be the most aggressive of this group. I do think she's really going to be like extra to prove a point, and I hope that after this matchup and whatever they do with her and Nikita, it'll really put her in a good space because she did have that little feud with Roxanne, but Roxanne won that feud, and technically, and so it's like, all right, but then I feel like they don't really know what to do with her, and so maybe after this thing with Nikita and she'll stop attacking people in parking lots, then we can get a real legit of let's make an actual story for her. I feel like everybody who has a problem with her now is because she did something to somebody and they're paying her back. So it's like, even with Roxanne, she did something to Roxanne and Roxanne was upset that she interfered in that situation. And so it was like, every time her feud has been now, it's just payback for other people she kind of messed over. And so I feel like I think she's going to be very aggressive, but I do not think she's winning it because Nikita is back. I don't think Nikita's going to really allow her to want to get a title shot. That'll be a waste to me of a potential title shot when you have another feud that's clearly about to happen. So I don't feel like that's a smart move. I don't think she's winning.
To be fair, it was the thing that put me off a little bit as well when seeing this. When I saw her coming back, I was like, oh, maybe Blair's not winning this. But at the same time, I'm kind of going to go with a different direction because Blair was my prediction before NXT went on air yesterday. I'm going to keep it my prediction because I'm going to feel that Nikita Lyons may jump into this match and she's going to mess up. She's going to kick somebody else that's going to lead to Blair to getting that final pinfall. And she's going to not inadvertently help Blair win this match. What happens after, like you say, does Blair win the championship? I don't know. I know Ed was in the comments before, and one thing he said a long time ago when I was on one of his streams was the idea that Blair should win the NXT Women's Championship because all these women that have been taken out in the parking lot, when they come back, they have something to take from Blair when she returns. So it's like Sol Ruka, they can try and take the NXT Women's Championship. The feud's already built in place for the future. So in one way, I think it makes sense for Blair to win the title. But like you say, it's kind of soon with Lyra as well, especially after beating Becky Lynch. But still, I will go with Blair Davenport to pick up the victory. We'll see with Fallon Henley. Could be a consolation prize. We maybe keep it brief, and I don't know. But Katrina, what were your thoughts then on Fallon Henley?
So this is why earlier I felt like, the case was made that I could kind of see if this is a surprise win. I have been annoyed with Fallon for most of the year. I have. She's been annoying me with her shenanigans and like her thing with Kiana was with like, it was a lot where she just couldn't mind her business. And I'm like, ma'am, either say what you need to say with your chest or leave him alone and let him have his time. And she was doing the most. And I didn't particularly appreciate that. With that being said, Fallon hasn't really had an opportunity to really have her moment. And I feel like if you really want to, even if she don't, because I don't think Lyra should win, but lose anytime soon. But I don't really see her losing anytime soon either. And so if you want Fallon to get some more mileage or more experience, and you have somebody who's like trained with a Becky, which would be Lyra, then that's a perfect opportunity to get you a title shot, and maybe she'll show you a little bit more of the ropes, get you, give you your moment, like how Tiffany kind of had it with Becky, where it was moments. It was like, oh yay, okay, Tiffany did this. I felt like, maybe, she could be the person to win this. It was mentioned earlier, and I kind of forgot about that. She did tell Lyra she was coming for the title, which I thought was a bit like presumptuous to say in the beginning when nothing was going on. But she said that, and then for her kind of being the one to get her the winner of the last chance of this match. And then even with the extra that people seem to like during her little promo, though I do think Lash Legend was a little bit better promo-wise in this. The fact that people was like, oh, yeehaw, they were in it. You got people kind of feeling her right now. And so I don't know. I now can kind of see she might be like, oh crap, she's gonna win this, even if she doesn't beat. I don't think she's beating Lyra. I don't think any of these women are any, honestly, to be fair. And then there's still Lola, to be fair as well, because I think she has a title shot as well, right? With her.
Sure.
So it's like this is a couple of people that can go after Lyra at the moment, but it could very well just to give her some time to really like, oh, you go against a champion. You're here for a little bit, Go against champion, maybe get your moment, get some mileage, get some time to shine with Lyra. And we can do that using this as a catapult to get you to those moments. But I don't think she's going to beat Lyra if she wins it. But I could see it now. I was like, oh, yeah, well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, while she annoys me, I can kind of see she also did. She was the one to call Lyra out during this. She was the only one, actually, to call her out before matches we even had, when she was like, I'm coming for the title. I'm like, okay, you kind of said it. Maybe you meant it and manifest that you will win this. And so I can now kind of see that she's somebody who, surprise winner that'll probably surprise people. I think it's very possible now.
I like it. Do you know, it's a very compelling argument there. Is that enough to sway a prediction there, Shay? What's your thoughts on Fallon and Henley?
Now that I've heard the whole stuff with the Blair Davenport specifically, I'm starting to think maybe Fallon might be the better buffer feud in between for Lyra in the meantime, because now that I think about it, I feel like Blair could be a serious contender to take the title from Lyra. So why rush that? Let Blair deal with Nikita, and then we can get Blair at a later point. That's so for Fallon. I think Fallon, honestly, I'm like, she might win, but I don't think she's going to win the title. I think she could win this, and it could be a great just buffer for Lyra in the meantime. So, yeah, really changed my mind. See, look at my duo, changing my mind like that.
It's some great arguments, but I'm gonna stick with my prediction just because I've made it, and I'm gonna feel the same with Henley and Briggs. I'm giving my Briggs one away now. I think they're there to cause a heel turn for Brooks Jensen. They had the thing a little while ago with Brooks where he had his own music on a dark match on NXT, and I believe it was a popular song which now escapes my mind. And everyone was like, "Oh wow, this is awesome for Brooks." And I think they were teasing something they're going to do in the future. So I think that Fallon and Henley's there to make up the numbers, but this is more to upset the apple cart with Brooks, because it's funny enough that Fallon's in this match, Briggs is in his match, but Brooks Jensen is nowhere to be found. We will move on to we'll move into the comments, but I do actually want to ask one last question, and we'll just whiz it around. Quick names. Who are going to be the first two in the match? Shay, I'll start with you. Who kicks off this match?
I think they're going to want to kick the match off right, and I think the best way to start it off, Tiffany and Fallon, because they got that built-in heat with their feud. I think that's the best way to start it off.
Oh, I like that. Katrina.
While I do agree with the fact that, they've been going kind of a little bit back and forth, I think Tiffany and Lash, actually, again, two women with size. If you want to kind of test to see, if you want to give Lash a test to see how well she can do what she needs to, Tiffany of this group is probably one of the perfect people to do that. And then, you could throw Fallon in there with their beef at some point during this matchup. But I do think if you kind of want to see what Lash can do of this group, then Tiffany will probably be the correct person to do it. And so I'm thinking the two of them.
I like it. I also think Tiffany will start. I'm going to go with Kelani Jordan as the other person to kick it off in a match. I think they both seem like the workhorse people that can do the long 25 minutes there, and I think that will be suitable there. But like you say, the idea with Fan Henley there, Lash all make great arguments, but Blair Davenport does make sense to come in later in the match. Last quick question then as we whiz around, who comes in last into this? Shay, I'll start with you.
I think it's going to be Blair. I think that she's the big bad wolf of this match, and she's going to kind of have that. Think of Shayna Baszler when she came in the Elimination Chamber, kind of that effect when she comes into the match. So I think it would be best for her to come in last for that reason.
I completely agree. Katrina?
Yeah, I'm thinking Blair as well. I don't think she, like, of this group, while Tiffany was a former NXT champion, I don't feel like you think of her even on NXT UK. She doesn't really need to prove anything necessarily right away. I feel like she's somebody who's been messing with a lot of women in the NXT locker room. It could even be like, I don't know if they'll do that, where it'll be like she comes in and they try to get her because of that if nobody's eliminated by this point, or even how many falls by this point. But I do think she'll be the first person, like the last person to kind of come in. You don't necessarily need her to be first. You kind of need her to be more of a sneak in, do what she needs to do, cause some chaos at the end of this, get people upset if she does certain things to certain people. And I think that perfect way for her to do that will be to be last. And also, like, you think of heels love coming in last anyway, and just kind of like, you think of like the Royal Rumbles, you get like, oh, I'm number 28, okay, and I can just sneak on in and do like not too much work. I feel like her being last would be the perfect opportunity to allow her to really heal it up if necessary.
I agree with that, and I think that was a great points there indeed. They're picking up the bones as heels like to do. But that's all we think. Let's see what our comments have to say. CD reckons that Tiffany Stratton will be winning. Ed thinks Blair Davenport will be winning this. CD goes on to say, just my opinion, Iron Survivor challenges would work better if you did it for Stand and Deliver. Interesting concept. I can see where you're coming from with that. Iron Survivor challenge, it feels like this is a Survivor challenge perfect for when War Games gets boring. I don't think it's going to get boring anytime soon, though. C. McLean feels that Bron Breakker is going to win the men's, but Kelani Jordan to win the women's. Noob still coming in with us with some comments. Says, I'm going with Ilja Dragunov to win. Ilja definitely had that emotion, the character and personality, then the mad dragon himself, and would like to see Baron Corbin go back to the main roster to feud with Roman Reigns. Fair play with that noob there. Eric Douglas picks for Iron Survivor Challenge matches, both of them going with Tiffany Time and Trick Williams. Of course, Temple in-house as well, speedy recovery to Wesley. When he comes back, he'd like to see a match with Ricochet. It would be a great showcase match. That would be indeed. Sydney can't believe that Carmelo Hayes lost to Josh Briggs. Don't get me wrong, Josh Briggs is awesome, but he's presented as a tag team wrestler. Hey, we like to see surprises. That's what we've got here on this particular show here. I don't know if anyone's predicted Fallon Henley to win the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, but he's going with Hearst's Temple plays like her character in ring. Noob says that Tiffany Time will be actually winning the Iron Survivor Challenge. Get Joe is in house. Hope you're doing well. Great to see you here. Hope you are keeping well. CD says Tim Blaze would like to see that back too. I've missed that comment very clearly. Tino's time in the house, no matter what time it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's always Tino's time. He says, what is the most underrated match of the night? Tino, now you're asking some questions. Shay, is there an underrated match of the night for you?
I feel like people are not expecting a lot from Dragunov versus Baron Corbin, more so because of Baron. And I think that could be a match that really, it could be something. I think when Baron's in the ring with the right person, he can definitely get with it. So I think that could be a sleeper match that no one's, because I think people are more so focused on the Iron Survivor matches and even Kiana and Roxanne.
True story there. Katrina.
Yeah, I can see Dragunov and Baron, just because, you know, there's a reason me and others call him Boring Corbin. He doesn't really give too much in matches, but I can definitely see with somebody like Dragunov that it might be better than normal. I also think that I'm gonna say, just to that comment, Dominik Mysterio, because we might get a little bit more, because this is like their third time now, and so it's very possible that while we're like, oh, again, it's very possible that they might really show out in this matchup. You know, Dominik, he had over 100 matches, they said, this year in 2023, which is impressive. as annoying as he can be, that's very impressive. And from what people thought he was going to be when he first got here. And so he's really embraced his character. He's embraced stuff in the ring. And so I do think that will probably be the match. I'm going to be like, oh, okay. Well, I'm impressed. And it's not the match I'm really looking for this whole, but I think this will be the one that I'm like, all right, y'all surprised me. And so that's who I'm picking.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dom as well and Dragon Lee, just because it's been thrown together last minute. And if we do get that title change as well, I think a lot of people, then could be a big match coming out of this that people are talking about rather than going in. Temple Places says that Axiom Nathan Frazer, which to be fair, put on a kickoff match as well, could really be a show stealer also. Getcho says, see, Lash having a good showing. Ryan here says, I think the one that's stalking NXT Women's Champion is the one who's going to take the title off of her. It's an interesting proposition indeed there. Temple's desperate for Fallon Henley to win, like really badly. She's so good. We got Remy Z thinks that Ilja Dragunov should be drafted to Raw. Hopefully not with the NXT Championship though. We need that on Tuesdays. CD says Josh Briggs and Josh Brenton have already broken up once. Remember the Kiana James storyline with Brooks Jensen? Absolutely wanted to take his cherry. We remember those glorious days. Numiko says Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley. Rami says Lash Legend. And also we have got CD here saying main event will be the Men's Survivor Challenge. Remember when Trick Williams said to Carmelo Hayes that would end the show. Well, perfect segue, CD. You couldn't have timed that comment better if you tried, because then that gives us the excuse to talk about the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Bron Breakker, Josh Briggs, Dijak, Trick Williams, and Tyler Bate, all going to be involved in this match indeed. We're going to do the same format as before. I will try and keep it brief, starting about Bron Breakker. I think Bron is going to be a powerhouse in this match. I think he's going to dominate. But as the ladies have said already early in this stream, he does not need to win this. And to be fair, Bron Breakker's not really got a good record when it comes to matches as of late, when it comes to the spotlight and the showcase. So I don't think Bron is taking the W here. Shay, what do you see with Bron Breakker in the Iron Survivor Challenge? Does he get the win for you?
He definitely doesn't get the win. I think that they simply put him in to have him on the card and nothing else, nothing more. That's literally it. I think he'll get a respectable amount of pins, but they literally just wanted him to be on the card. He's not winning. Love you,
Bron. Katrina.
Yeah, no, I'm with both of you. I do think he's definitely going to spear a couple of people. He's definitely doing some spares. He's going to get those in. He's definitely going to have some good, solid pins, but he don't need to win this. Like, you was champion, like, you fought main roster people. You was champion multiple times. Why do you need to win this? I think, to be fair, because he hasn't had the best of luck. And I feel like he does better in solo matches than he does with a bunch of people anyway. I feel like any matches there's multiple people, he doesn't do as well. And so I think he's going to have some spares. He's definitely going to be very aggressive, but he's not winning this. I do think this is just like, oh, Bron's not here. Let's throw him in this match. And here we are.
Absolutely. I want to see a spear into the penalty box. That's what I want to see from Bron in this match. I think that would be a fun looking spot if that was to go down. I'm going to bring up Josh. I'm going to be a little bit creative here. Probably going to forget a name halfway through. I'm not going in order. I'm just going to throw out a name I want to talk about next. Josh Briggs. Like I said earlier on, I think he's there to make up the numbers. This is a breakout moment for him. I think he's going to surprise people. I think he could get the first pinfall of the match, but I don't think he's going to win. I think he could be the one that could be pinned, unfortunately, a few times in it. But again, as I said earlier, I think he's going to be the person like Fallon. They're both in this match to cause let's say, some attention on Brooks Jensen coming out after this show. Katrina, Josh Briggs, how does he stand for you in the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge?
To be fair, I was very surprised he beat Carmelo. And not that Carmelo needed this match either. I was just like, but why? I was like, what is this? Like, I was kind of questioning for like 2 weeks. Like, you decided this? That's when I had to call Shawn Michaels Michael because I had the question, like, why? But with that being said, I do think he's going to have moments because when he's with his tag, when he's with Jensen, I've always felt they were definitely a good tag team together. And so I think this will be definitely, if they're trying, I mean, I hate that they're bringing up tag teams because it's like, we don't have that many in NXT as it is. Oh, everything kind of all wonky. And I hate that. But I also do think this is a time to see kind of like the Creed brothers. When you think of Julius Creed, what he delivered on Monday Night Raw. I mean, they were delivering in NXT, but I felt like that was like, who wasn't watching NXT, they was like, oh snap. And I'm like, hey, I've been saying this about him for like months. Like, he's amazing. And I feel like this would be that moment. Like, okay, of the two, let's see what you can do. And he's a bigger guy than, Jensen. He's a little bit more bigger. And so let's see what you can do as big guy by yourself. I do think that's what this is going to be for. I don't know if he'll get the first pen. I don't think he's going to be like terrible. Or I do think he's going to get like maybe 3 pins, maybe. I do think it'll be that. But I don't see him winning this. I won't say it's just for like filler necessarily. But I just feel like it's like we'll see what he can, if this is going to be a little bit breaking out for him solo, if that's what they're trying to do. But I don't think he's winning this. Unless, like, I guess.
We can blame JBL for Josh Briggs here, I think. But Shay, what's your thoughts with Josh Briggs?
Yeah, I think he kind of like similar to Kelani was just put in this match to kind of get some miles. And it's kind of like a soft launch on him being a solo, superstar. So, yeah, I can see him getting maybe 1, maybe 2 falls, but that's about it. But he's definitely not winning, but it'll still be a great experience. He's going to really show out. I think he's going to show out for real.
I agree. It's a day away from catering when it comes for PLEs for Josh Briggs, and hopefully he can make the most of the opportunity given to him. But we'll move on, and we're going to talk about what the comments have been quite popular with Dijak. They've liked the idea of Dijak Dragunov too. Obviously, it's been one of the matches he is in NXT. For me, I'm warming to the idea because the comments are talking about it, but it wasn't the name I had coming into this. I think Dijak will have a good showing, but I don't see him as NXT champion still. I still see him going for the North American Championship first, if I'm honest, because I think that's the level he's at the moment. Comments may disagree with me on that one. But Shay, I'll go to you then. Dijak, where does he stand for you in this match?
So I have to go back on everything I just said earlier in the show. I now think that Dijak might win. And I'm going to tell you why. He makes the most sense as a buffer. Again, same thing for Lyra. I think this is a good buffer feud for Dragunov. Just to kind of say, get some miles under his reign, get some wins, basically. Because Trick, obviously, I think when Trick goes for that title, people are going to want to see him win. So we can't do that right now because Dragunov just got the title, and no, we cannot do that. Bron, obviously, no. Josh, I'm not really there yet for that, so we can't do that. And Tyler, I think he is a strong contender, as I said earlier, to definitely take the title off of Dragunov. So I think it's not time to pull the trigger on that. So that's why I'm just going to say Dijak is definitely going to win.
I like it there. Katrina, Dijak, have you been swayed?
No, I'm not a fan. And I just can't trust a person who wears sunglasses inside. I just can't. Like, I want to, but if you're wearing sunglasses in a dark room, I'm gonna have to question how much logic you have. And so, I do think he might do some stuff. And then also, like, even with his matches, like, I'm just never really like. I guess like his match with Eddie, I'm like, well, why did you win? I didn't even want him to win those. Every match he's had, I've just been meh about him. And so just for him to win, to even get a title shot, I'm like, but why? It's kind of how I'm feeling about Barrett. It's like, why do you get a title shot? That's where I'm at with Dijak. He's just there for me. And so I definitely don't have him winning. I do think he's going to get a respectable amount of pens, or he might be irritating and have his glasses possibly for no reason. But I don't see him winning. I just know I can't. And even as a buffer, I don't want to see it. And this is maybe me biasly. I do not want to see him in any capacity taking on Dragunov. You can do whatever it is, mid card or low card or whatever the case may be. You can be there, and that's fine. I don't even think he needs North American title. I feel I'm like, why? He's definitely not NXT champion ready. I feel so. Like, I mean, that's just me, but I know comments said otherwise. I'm just definitely not. Absolutely not.
That's fair. We can't all be fans of Dijak. We can't all be. But are we fans of Tyler Bates? That's going to be the next one we'll talk about. The big strong boy, like you said, a lot of potential to someone that could do it. I think actually he will kick off this Iron Survivor Challenge. We'll actually put two birds in one stone here. I think he's going to kick off the match, possibly with Dijak. I could see them being the first two in this. I think they'd save a Bron breaker till later. So yeah, I actually think they'll be the two that kick this off. But Tyler Bates, for me, despite having 25 minutes in the match, I don't think will pick up the win at the end of it. Just because, yeah, I'll get to it and do the whole thing. Trick Williams is going to win this for me. It seems the most predictable way to go, and I think that it makes the most sense. I think that Trick can win this match, puts more seeds of doubt in Carmelo Hayes' head, and I think when it comes to the time that Trick gets his title opportunity, maybe Trick is taken out, but maybe it's not actually in the parking lot or in the back where he doesn't know who done it. Maybe Carmelo just comes straight up and does it. Straight out, and I wouldn't be surprised at this point. They need to start building it for Trick and Mello for what probably will be stand and deliver. So yeah, I think Trick may get his opportunity, and I think it may be coming at New Year's Eve or at Vengeance Day. Shay, obviously you talked about both of these guys technically a little bit. Is there anything you'd like to add on Trick and Tyler Bate?
So loud out here, so just ignore that. But Trick, I don't think he's gonna win because again, I feel like the fans are very much behind him, and I feel like if they put him in that match and he is standing across from Dragunov, and if the ending is not what they are looking for, there will be it's not going to be good. So I don't think that they want to go there right now because it's still so much with Carmelo going on that he needs to just deal with that. Tyler, like I think he could definitely take the title from Dragunov. I cannot see anyone specifically that could take the title more than him at this point. So I am revoking what I said about him winning. And again, I said I think that Dijak is going to win as a buffer feud, and I think that Tyler will be the second most falls behind Dijak.
There we go. Katrina, anything you'd like to add then on Trick Williams and Tyler Bate?
I feel like if Tyler wins it, I will be happy with that. Honestly, I love Tyler Bate. He's just fantastic. But I do think Trick is winning this. I do. I think we already have this issue with he doesn't know who he's trusting. If he can trust Carmelo, you got Lexis kind of in his ear and everything else. And what way to add more drama than to let him win this? Now and especially if Carmelo does anything where he's making a comment that's kind of funny or he's looking at him kind of funny, that's the perfect way to make him even like if you're really trying to say Carmelo did something, well have him win it. Because how is Carmelo going to react now that he's won? Now that he has a title shot, a title that he's had, that he's held, and now your best friend kind of got this, and it's not you. And you not only missed your first opportunity when you lost to Josh, but then you missed it recently as well for your last chance. You did not make it. And then Trick wins this. I think that's the perfect, if you're trying to spin this, Carmelo did this and drag this on a little longer, this is the perfect way for Trick to do it. I don't think he would beat Dragunov personally. I don't think anybody outside of Bron would beat Dragunov in this group. Tyler Bate, because I did say Tyler Bate. I don't, Dijak, man, no. I just know. And Josh, I don't see that happening. I do see that if you want to kind of see, let's see how well he can do with this kind of pressure. And if you want to pull the fact that you mentioned he's kind of in his own paranoia, like, I can't really trust anybody. And if this is the way to kind of keep fueling that just a tad, have him with it. And then see if he's going to even trust Carmelo even less. Would you really think Carmelo's trying to take it from you? Because, again, Carmelo already had this title. He had it. And then he tried to get back into a match that you're in twice. And he didn't make it either time. And then you win it, too. And then have the audience behind Trick. There's so many elements you can keep kind of dragging with that alone. And so I do think Trick Williams will win it, but I wouldn't be upset if Tyler got it just because I do think Tyler Bate is fantastic. And I do think if we get that, it's going to be a fantastic match if it's him and Dragunov.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely indeed there. And to be fair, the points you made there just for a minute ago with the Trick Williams time there and what it can do for that storyline, for me, that's the selling point of where this is going forward. And yeah, I mean, you put it so perfectly there. I said before, I thought who would be starting this. I thought it would be Dijak and Tyler Bate. Shay, who do you see starting off this match?
100% Tyler, because they already know Tyler is just, he knows how to get things started. The second, I would say, will be a good play. I say Dijak. My two tops start
There you are.
finishing it.
Absolutely. Katrina, do you see the same?
For some reason, I think Josh Briggs. I feel like you kind of want to see what he can do, get him in there first. I don't think Dijak. Something's also telling me because the audience is by him, they might have Trick start. And if he wins it, that'll probably be even better. If he wins it again, just adding to like, oh, you lasted 25 minutes starting and you win it. This again, you can just keep adding a little bit elements with Trick Williams a few ways with that. So I'm gonna go with Josh because I feel like if you really want to test him, let him go first. Though I wouldn't mind Tyler because I do agree with Shay that he's definitely somebody who will get it going. But I feel like because Josh is definitely he's being tested, start him off. Let him see what he can do. Let him see what he can do before you kind of have to put him in with other people. I feel like he might get a little lost in the shuffle if he gets put into this match midway. I feel like, or last, I feel like he's really going to be missed. I feel like start him off and then let him see what he can do with him and somebody else. And so I'm thinking him and Trick Williams.
I like it. I like the story narrative you've got playing with that as well. That could be really fun for the match there. To finish things off, the last person in, we've talked about the big baddie coming in at the end there. I mean, Bron Breakker feels like that perfect candidate for this match. Shay?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my same mindset from the women. Definitely, probably Bron. Yeah.
Bron it is. Katrina, is it Bron or is it someone else for you?
Yeah, I think Bron too, because again, he doesn't really need this match. Get him a couple of spears in there, let him do what he do, and his singlet and get all extra aggressive, and then be done. He really don't need to do much, honestly. And so yeah, let him go last. Let him get some spears in. Let him feel like he's knocking people up. Do what you need to do, beat him up, and then. But he doesn't. I feel like there's no reason for them to be first or middle. I do think he'll just be there for some extra razzle dazzle at the end of towards the end of the match. So I'm putting him last as well.
Sounds a good plan indeed. That's what we think. Let's see what our chat thinks. Regular on this channel, NXT Steve in the house. Hope you're doing well, my friends. This evening, all Bron just twiddling his thumbs, waiting for the main roster call up. I think that's a very good analogy of Bron Breakker right now, but probably still doing a couple of spears whilst twiddling with those thumbs as well. Temple Place says, why are they breaking up tag teams? The main roster made a habit of this. Don't get me wrong. I want a Josh Bridges singles run like in the Evolve, but NXT needs tag teams. And as the lady said as well, NXT is breaking up too many teams. So yeah, we agree. Don't break up the tag teams. C. McLean is going for Dijak to win, and Temple's doing the same since he needs to win this. To this day, I said he should have been at least the North American champion at least. Again, it seems popular with Dijak. Temple Plays CD agrees, wants Dragunov Dijak too. Temple goes on and says that Bron Breakker would just be licking his lips for a main roster call up and win the title. His father and uncle won the United States title, so literally a different idea instead there. CD said, never be the next NXT championship. Just think he'll win this match. There you go. Just will win the Iron Survivor match. You know what? Tyler says, Tyler upsets this match. Dragunov, Tyler Bate, sign me up. And Silk loves the idea of this. Well, NXT says, big strong boy to win. For me, love the idea of Bate versus Dragunov. Wipes a tear for NXT UK. We've got quite a few more comments that have come flying in. Oh yeah, we could get Ilja Dragunov versus Trick Williams too. Absolutely good stuff indeed there. What else have we got? We got Getcho says, I feel you. Dijak could work, but the Terminator Tumu gimmick isn't working respectfully. That's a good analogy for it, let's be fair. We've also got Bron Breakker versus Ilja Dragunov too, even. There's a lot of rematches in the card here. That's pretty much what could be coming from this. And we've got Tino here that says, I'm going to take Trick to win. And could Trick versus Carmelo be NXT's version of the DIY feud? It certainly seems that way to me. So that's what all our comments have got to say. And well, that's pretty much all of our predictions. So before we wrap things up, I'd just like to say, if you've enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that like button as well. Really helps the algorithm here on YouTube. Share with a friend, subscribe as well, and get involved in the chat after this video is finished as well. Could be Q&A, could be about this show. Let us know. And if you're watching on delay, thank you for taking the time to watch for an hour and a half us discuss NXT Deadline. You've probably seen by now, you've been watching for the last hour and a half. These two ladies know their stuff. They're amazing at what they do. They've got their own projects as well as both being on bodyslam.net with the NXT after show, the Meta 2. But ladies, I'm going to let you plug your own stuff. Katrina, I'm going to start with you. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Social media, in Cat We Trust, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, the E's a 3. Just follow my channel. I have a whole bunch of stuff, wrestling as well, but a whole bunch of stuff on there. Interviews, anime, all that stuff is on there. Again, I am on Tuesdays after NXT with, my girly Shay, my twin. Everybody's favorite duo in Meta 2 after show for Body Slam. And on Mondays, normally, though today it would be at 7, I normally am with Stephanie Hardy at the Hardy Wrestling Podcast talking WoW superheroes, which has been super fun. So definitely check me out in all those things. And tomorrow I will be interviewing, if you like AEW, All Elite with Kiki to talk about her end of the year AEW awards. And so I will be guest interviewing her for that leading up to her awards. So catch me there.
Amazing stuff indeed. Definitely worth that subscribe. And Shay as well.
You can find me at Shay Sawyer was here on Instagram and Shay Sawyer _. There's 2. And also every other platform is the same, honestly. Shay Sawyer on Twitch. I do stream a lot, Dead by Daylight. You can also catch a new episode of the Big Pop Theory podcast that just dropped this past Monday on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple. And then you can catch me back with this amazing human on bodyslam.net directly after NXT on Tuesday for the Meta 2 after show.
Amazing stuff indeed there. And I've got to say, I have got some links in the description already. So people want to go and click on some of the links that I've already got there for the Big Pop Theory podcast for In Cat We Trust and as well for bodyslam.net. You can make sure to go and do that and subscribe to the channels. And like I say, follow them on social media as well. Shay, Katrina, it's been an absolute pleasure to collaborate with you to talk NXT. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully to have you on both again very, very soon. We've got some very kind words as well from our viewers today. See, this is great stream. Got to say, Tina saying great episode as well. We've got 5 stars from NX Meltzer as well, which is good to see. And Tina says he's off to go and sub right now, which the comments should be coming up for use very shortly. It's not doing for me. There we go. Temple Wonderway, just to finish off, says he reckons Bron will get the call up the night after Mania. I think you could be on the money. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, put yourselves the money, get your bets in. Who is winning on NXT Deadline? Who is walking away from the Iron Survivor Challenge? If you've not told us on this episode, let us know in the comments below right now. And if you can't get enough of videos on this channel, there are new videos right now, including Impact Wrestling's Final Resolution predictions, and there'll be a host of Royal Rumble videos coming on this channel this week, as well as AEW World's End predicted match card. Take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for the next video.